We are in a Yaakov. Please subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. Like it. Subscribe to it. Ring the bell. It goes way up on your readings, your listings. You'll never miss the class. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's mop. The Gemara interprets each phrase of another verse in that passage that we were talking about. Was talking about that the women were flaunting their beauty, and he says this shows the punishments of these women. In my paranatayim, what are their punishments? Kidarash Rabba Bar Ula. It's like Rabba Bar Ula expounded. Sorry, Vayatachat Bosem Makhiya, and it shall be that instead of the fragrance, there will be decay. And so what happens? Makom shayu mid basmo bo nasa nemakim. The very place that they perfumed themselves will become full of decay. V'tacha chagara nikva. Next part of the verse. And instead of the belt bruising, makom shayu chagara b'tzultzul naasa nekafim. The very place where they girded themselves with a belt will become full of bruises. And instead of the carved items of the jewelry, the baldness, which is okay, what's that? So the very place that they adorned themselves became full of bald patches. And then finally, v'tacha tumo tacha petigil chagorot sak. You're on next 62.4b.
Yeah.
Okay, and instead of the sash, a belt of sackcloth, petachim hamavim lidei gila yut makoret sak. The opening seat to the gladness will be a girding for sackcloth. Okay, and the last one, kitachat yafi, for all these things will befall you instead of beauty. Amarava hayinu da amri inshe. That's why people say chilufe shufra biva. In exchange for beauty, swords. So what you're seeing is that all these people who are walking in a haughty manner and wanting to show themselves, those very things that they're doing are going to cause their downfall. That's why they're going through that whole thing. Yeah.
Is it worth, whatever that means, explaining the note in 44 here that in terms of the hair, it's based on a play on words? Do you see what that is?
The interpretation is based on the play of words. Mikashto, which means decorating or adorning, is similar to ma'ase miksha, to the act of making disgusting. Notice it's a play on words. So what's doing is when where's it came from? When Isaiah was saying all these things, so he was speaking in a metaphoric manner, and he's trying to tell people that you're not doing good. Again, when it comes to a woman, specifically a woman, she's a woman supposed to be modest because she is like a queen, and so a queen doesn't flaunt their beauty. The queen is very, very quiet about it, very modest. That's a proper queen. Okay, I'm not talking about the queens that sometimes you see, but if you look towards Queen Elizabeth, right? Is that Queen Elizabeth? That's her name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth is impeccably dressed all the time. She doesn't flaunt her body. She comes out. She's a lady, as opposed to others, Kim Kardashian, who flaunts everything, or Pamela Anderson in those days, flaunted everything. Okay, that's not a lady. With all due respect to it's the two women I just mentioned, but that's not what we consider Bas Panim, Bas Melech. I mean, the daughter of the king, the princess. Princesses don't walk around like that. You wouldn't expect them to. You expect them to always be modestly dressed, and they get the respect that they're supposed to get because they're representative of something greater than them. We as Jews are representative of something greater than us. So we don't flaunt our bodies. Now this goes very much to a woman. It also would go to a man to an extent. We also can't do certain things. We're not as restrictive as the women because there's a verse specifically about women being modest. We don't have that. We don't apply it. But still in all, we also don't like to, you normally will not see a religious man walking out without his shirt on. Right? As a matter of fact, if you watch people here mow their lawns, okay, they will go out in their white shirt and their suit pants and mow lawn. Now, I personally never quite understood that. I go out with my jeans and long shirt, granted, but I don't go out with my dress pants. I saw somebody go out there, my next door neighbor, not now. He went out with his tie on, and he was mowing his lawn. And I said, "You ruin the reputation of all of us." I can't do that.
They could be British.
Whatever the case is going to be. The point is that they are always the prince. And the prince doesn't walk out with jeans and a hat and a thing saying images, everything. That's the way I like to mow my lawn, with a relaxed state. But they will mow their lawn and impeccably dressed, again, with a tie on. The only time I wore a tie and a jacket while I was mowing my lawn was when I was in Bangor, Maine, and the lawn was the size of a postage stamp. It would have taken me more time to change my clothes than to do the lawnmower 1, 2, and be done. So at that point, I left my I was coming home from patrol. I saw the grass was high. I started the lawnmower. I did it. Good. So now you can see I had my jacket and my tie on. Tremendous. But that wasn't normal.
I'll tell you about immodesty in a man in Chicago one time in the neighborhood. I'm positive he wasn't a Jewish guy, but jogging on whatever given morning it was. I was probably coming back from a weekday meeting. I was, walk also because it was close.
Right.
Man he was jogging. He was wearing tennis shoes, I think, with jogging shoes with short socks, and he was wearing hot pink, really short pants and no shirt. And the guy was at least in his 50s. I mean, the guy had gray hair. And it's just, I mean, going outside in underwear is what it is, and nothing else.
Right. Again, that's not the Jewish way.
No.
So we always, if you think about it, we would always go out with, again, I'm not going to say always long sleeves, but we're usually not going out with our gotchkas on.
No gotchkas.
Right. We don't about that way. So it's even when people are going out to get their mail, they would put on a robe. So, again, it was always something that we're dressed. We don't just go out there. And unlike where I see people, like you said, jogging here, it's the most amazing thing when you see that. You're thinking, are we so desensitized that we don't notice that? He really wants to not look. Either you look disgusting, or you don't, whatever the case is going to be. But still, why should I see it? That's for you.
You see a wide variety of people, but they're always dressed.
If they're dressed, that's fine. I have no problem with them being dressed. What I'm saying is when they're not dressed and when they just want to show off they want to go out to be attracting, wanting us to look at them. By the way, it's no different than the guy in the old days when they used to wear the spiked hair, and then you would see them and you would look at them and say, "What are you looking at?" You want to say to them, "Oh, in ours, when you woke up this morning and you had your hair like that, you were thinking nobody's going to notice?" Of course, we don't say anything to them because we don't want to be beaten up. But it's who knows what they're going to do? They could knife you. But really, I want to say to them, "Come on, really? Really? You have tattoos all over you. You really don't want me to look at you? So why do you do it? You look like a walking billboard. Leave me alone." But that's what it is. So that's why when it comes to these women, what they're saying is, you want us to look at all of this. Your punishment will be those places that you want us to look at, those are going to be affected negatively. That's what he's saying. It's all mida keneged mida, tit for tat. You exposed, I'll expose you. Okay. So now another verse. It says, "V'sifach Hashem kad kol benot Zion." The Lord will afflict the heads of the daughters of Zion with lesions. And this again from Isaiah. So Amar Rav Yossi Baruch Hanina. So Rav Yossi Baruch Hanina said, Malame Shebaruch Behen Sarat. This teaches that Sarats broke out on him, and Sarats is a skin affliction, which is a spiritual affliction. Again, and certainly in this case, Saras, like every other affliction, is a physical manifestation of a spiritual defect. Whenever you have a sickness, you have to always think about that. That there's some spiritual defect that Hashem is trying to tell me about. So he presents it. It presents in a physical manner. And if I do the proper teshuvah, then I can get rid of that. Now, I'm not saying to anybody, and I always want to emphasize this, I'm not saying don't go to the doctors. You have to go to the doctors. You have to what you have to properly have to do. You have to trust the doctor to an extent. But nonetheless, this is what we're talking about. So K'tivach is written here. V'sifach he shall afflict with lesions. K'tivhatim is written over there. In Leviticus, Sapachat, the laws of the Seit and Sapachat, which is different types of skin discoloration, which is Shiraz. And then it says, Hashem Padhen Ya'areh, Hashem will cause their openings to pour. She says the private parts, okay? Oh, okay, so Padhen, so here I'll give you the thing. He says Padhen is the, is the contraction of the word Pitchehen, their openings, their private parts, okay? So Rav Shmuel says they give interpretations. One said, Shnishbechu bekitom, they were poured out like a pitcher, which means they are afflicted with an abnormal flow of blood. That their openings have become like a forest, which means they become full of hair, making intercourse repulsive. There you go. So either one, it's interesting. In one case, they said they're pouring like a pitcher, which means they can't have relations because they're bleeding, so they wouldn't be allowed to have relations. The other one just says that their pubic hair grows so much that it's repulsive to the person seeing it. Now, but you have a problem with that. We're not supposed to look there. So how it's going to become repulsive would be another question. In other words, what are we talking about? And I not, it's just something that we just don't do. So we're not supposed to do anyway. So it'd be interesting why it would become repulsive to the person. Okay, having discussed the highness of women in Judaism, now the Gemara turns to men. So Rav Yehuda, Rav, Anshe Shalom, Anshe Shachatzayu. The men of Yerushalayim were men of pretentiousness. He said they would speak in an arrogant, gilded tongue. They would mask their low behavior by alluding to it with a high-class manner of speech. Adam would ask his friend, on what did you dine today? Which refers to a cohabitation. Bapat amila or bapat she'enim amila? Did you dine on bread that was well kneaded or on bread that was not well kneaded? Or put this into their language. Did you have relations with a non-virgin or a virgin? Neither is well kneaded is a non-virgin, and not well kneaded is a virgin. So you can see that they were spoke again in terms that would sound nice, but were really a disgusting manner of getting the statement out. Okay, but that hasn't changed, by the way.
Yeah.
We still speak in those sort of languages. We don't speak like that, but there's still other ways to talk about sexual relations with women that you understand the connotation, but it's still, it's none of your business, basically. You shouldn't be talking about this. Says, yeah.
Cohabitation was what?
Sex.
But they're asking one or the other.
Amir would ask his fellow, on what did you dine today? What do you have sex with today? Did you have sex with a virgin or a non-virgin? That was their way of trying to speak nicely. So I'm cultured. I'm cultured. I'm a cultured boy. So I wouldn't say anything. But so the person listening Doesn't. If the person, but again, everybody understood what they were saying, but they were pretentious about it. Doesn't. So they said, or Biyayin, sorry, Biyayin Gordali, which apparently is Gordali is a white wine, is white, whereas Chardonnay is black. That's to say, was a woman fair or dark. So Biyayin Chardonnay, fine. The Mesav Rachab Mitzav Kasar. Did you recline on a wide couch or a narrow couch? And so it says Mesav is a couch on which people will recline while eating. The question meant, was a woman fat or thin? Oh. B'chaver tov, b'chaver ra. Did you die with a good companion or a poor companion? Was a woman attractive? What did you do? What were you with? Okay. So Amarav Chista, v'chulan lisnut, and all of these questions pertain to illicit sexual relations. So the section, now we're going to conclude with the fragrances of Yerushalayim. So it doesn't say what they're, oh, it just talks about the haughtiness. Okay, not the punishment. Okay. So now about the fragrances of Yerushalayim. So Rachava Amar Rav Yehuda. So Rachava said the name of Rav Yehuda. I'd say Yerushalayim shall kinam on hayu. The logs in Yerushalayim were used that were used as fuel were of a cinnamon tree. Bishah shahayu masik mehem. When they would burn some of these logs, Rechan noda b'chol Eretz Yisrael. Their fragrance that would, we were talking about cinnamon, would waft through all of Eretz Yisrael. V'sheicharav b'am Yerushalayim nignazu. But when Yerushalayim was destroyed, they were hidden. And only a piece, a size of barley grain remained, which is found in the storehouses of Queen Simsei. Simsei. So who is she? That was her name. Maharsha suggests that Simsei is a verb meaning adorn. Thus, the Gemara means that the last piece of cinnamon wood was stored in the treasure house of a certain king. It was used only to perfume for that queen. We'll have to stop there. Yeah.